Hello students, I am back again with another lesson. This time we are going to study the lesson number 2, Hundreds and Hundreds of Wags by Shantini Govindhan. Before I begin, I hope children you have read about Padmini the princess and understood how it is important to be kind to animals as they are the part of our life. I am sure children you love animals and most of you are having pets at home. Today's story was also about an animal, about a small puppy. His name was Husky. He was very different from his brothers and sisters. Let us find out how he was different from his brothers and sisters. The author of this story is Shantini Govindhan. Shantini Govindhan taught in a college. She now writes for a children's magazine. She has written more than 50 books for children. She began writing when she wanted new stories to tell her children. Children, here you can see a picture of a puppy. His name was Husky. He was an unhappy puppy because he had a very short tail. As you know children, dogs also express their emotions just like us. What we do when we are happy, we laugh a lot. When we are angry, we frown a lot. When we get hurt, we cry. In the same way, dogs also express their feelings by wagging their tails. When they are happy, they wag their tails very fast. When they are angry, their tails become stiff and straight. When they are frightened, they tuck their tails between their legs. Children, sometimes they look very funny when they chase their own tails. But Husky could not do all these activities because he had a very short tail. So children, let us find out whether Husky was able to wag his tail by reading the lesson. Before reading the lesson, we will learn some word meanings. First one, wags, movements of the tail from side to side or up and down. Most of the animals wag their tails. Second, hardly. Hardly means barely, only just. Not really, almost, no. For example, the little girl could hardly wait to blow out her birthday candles. She wanted to blow out her birthday candles at that moment. Now next, stiff, difficult to bend. You can see the dog's tail. It is stiff and straight. It's very difficult to bend. His mouth watered. You can see the picture, that dog, what he was thinking. He was thinking about juicy bones. He wanted so much to eat the bones. So his mouth watered. Now next, twitched, moved up and down. When dog smelt his food, his nose moved up and down. Now let us start the reading of the lesson. Children, I will read first, then you have to repeat after me. Hundreds and hundreds of wags by Shantini Govindhan. Husky was an unhappy puppy. His brothers and sisters had long curly tails. But he had a very short one. It was so small, you could hardly see it. Who was Husky? Husky was a small puppy. He was so unhappy. Do you know why? Because his brothers and sisters had long curly tails. But he had a very short one. It was so small that you could hardly see it. Now let us read next para. Now his brothers and sisters could make their tails stand up straight and stiff when they were angry. They could wag them when they were happy. They could hide them between their legs when they were unhappy. They could even run around in circles chasing their own tails. Puppy was so unhappy because his brothers and sisters had long curly tails. So his brothers and sisters could make their tail stand up straight and stiff when they were angry. When they were happy, they could wag their tails very fast. They could hide them between their legs when they were very unhappy. When they wanted to play, they could chase their own tails. But Husky could not do all these activities because he had a very short tail. So let us move to next slide. But not Husky. He was so unhappy about his tail that one day he decided to leave home. Husky was so unhappy because his tail was too short. So one day he decided to leave his home. Now next para. He ran far away as fast as his legs could carry him. At last he stopped in front of a meat shop in a busy market. Husky's mouth watered and his nose twitched. He was very hungry, but the meat shop owner chased him away. Children, one day Husky decided to run away from home. He ran as far as he could, as fast as his legs could carry him. At last, he reached in front of a meat shop. Now he was so tired and hungry. He wanted the juicy bones from the meat shops. But the meat shop owner chased him away. Now, next. Husky felt sad and alone. Then an old dog slowly came over to where Husky sat. Husky became very sad and alone. An old dog was watching everything from far away. Slowly, that old dog came over to Husky. Now children, before moving to next part, we will learn some more word meanings. What's the matter? Used to ask someone why they are unhappy or worried. Stared, looked at something with wide open eyes for a long time. You can see how the dog is staring at us. With all his heart, he tried very hard, sincerely trying. Now, next line. You are new here, aren't you? He asked. Yes, answered Husky. If you want something, you should look sadly at people. Then, when they look at you, you have to wag your tail as hard as you can. Like this, said the old dog and he wagged his tail. The old dog asked, "You are new here, aren't you?" Then Husky answered, "Yes, I am new here. I am coming from far away." Then old dog told, "If you want something, you should look sadly at people. Then when they look at you, you have to wag your tails as hard as you can." Like this, the old dog showed him how to wag his tail. Now, next, Husky stayed silent and looked down. "Why? What's the matter?" asked the old dog in surprise. "It's my tail. It is too small to wag." When the old dog told him to wag his tail, Husky stayed silent and looked down. Then old dog asked, "What happened? What's the matter?" Then Husky told him, "My tail is too short to wag." Now let us move to next slide. "What a silly young pup you are," the old dog laughed. "There is nothing wrong with your tail at all. Wags come from a dog's heart. You know, when a dog is happy, he can wag his tail well. Think of happy things: juicy bones, cats to chase, a warm, dry place to sleep." As he named all these happy things, his tail began to wag. "Now think of something that will make you happy," the old dog told Husky. The old dog laughed at him and even called him a silly dog. And he told him a wag comes from dog's heart when he think of something happy things like juicy bones, cats to chase, a warm, dry place to sleep in. As he named all these happy things, Husky's tail also began to wag. Now let us move to next slide. "I would like one of those juicy bones over there," said Husky. He stared at the bones in the meat shop, and slowly his tail began to wag. Now he understood what to do. He wanted that juicy bones from the meat shop. So he stared at the bones in the meat shop, and slowly his tail began to wag. Now children, let us read next line. "At first it was hardly a wag, but as he thought more about the bone, the wag became stronger and stronger. Now go up to the man and wag your tail. He may give you a bone," said the old dog. At first, his tail was moving very slowly, but as he thought more about the bone, the wag became stronger and stronger. Then old dog told him, "Go up to the man and wag your tail. He may give you a bone." Now let us move to next line. So Husky wagged his small tail at the meat shop owner. He was afraid the man would get angry. He was afraid that his tail would stop wagging. But Husky wagged his tail with all his heart. The old dog advised him to go to the meat shop owner and wag his tail. So Husky went to the meat shop owner and started wagging his tail. He was afraid that the man might get angry. And also he thought that his tail would stop wagging. But Husky wagged his tail with all his heart. Now let us learn some more word meanings. Whizzing, flying fast. You can see how the bone flying through the air to Husky. Now, next, never mind, a way of saying that's all right. Now, let us read the next sentence. Suddenly, a fat juicy bone came whizzing through the air. He jumped and caught it. Then he dropped it at the feet of the dog. That's for you, he said. But it is your bone, said the old dog. You wagged your tail for it. Oh, never mind, said Husky proudly. I can always get another one. After all, there are hundreds and hundreds of wags in my tail. Children, when Husky thought of juicy bones, his tail also started wagging very fast. Suddenly, there was a juicy bone whizzed through the air. Husky jumped and caught it and dropped it at the feet of the old dog. The old dog was surprised and he told him that it's your bone. You wagged your tail for it. Then Husky proudly said, Oh, never mind. Now I knew how to wag my tails. Now I can wag hundreds and hundreds of times and get whatever I want. Children, sometimes we also face similar situations where we feel like we cannot do something. That's only because we all are different. That doesn't mean that we are not special. We all are special and unique. And remember, children, what the old dog told to Husky. Think of happy things and work hard and work with all your heart. And still you feel you cannot do something, then keep practicing because practice will make you perfect. I hope, children, you have enjoyed this story. We will do the exercises in the next part. So, take care, children.